All right. Let's make sure this sound is right. Let's make sure this sound is right during these funny times, man. YouTube is acting up today. Something fierce. Wait for y'all to come on. Ooh, this computer's running slow. What's going on, Justin Hawk? Let me make sure. Here we go. Wait for y'all to come on. Ooh, this computer's running slow. What's going on, Justin Hawk? All right, so here. All right. Andre said to this day. Andre Smith, to this day. Yeah, man, let's talk about this boxing, man. Another day, another boxing conversation. Today, we're going to talk about the dumbest thing that I have ever heard a promoter say ever. I was absolutely shocked that Frank Warren said something, man. Amazing. Amazing. But we'll wait till people come into the chat. We got 32 people in the building, 31 likes. Let's make the likes happen. Derek James, Coach of the Year, without a doubt. If he gets past at the end of the year, if he gets past all these fights that he has his fighters in, yeah, man, he's trainer of the year. Derek James, man, got the best stable. Percentage-wise, he's got the best stable in all of boxing. He's going to have, like 6 titles? 6 titles between 2 fighters because Errol has 2. If Jermall wins, he'll have 3. Plus, I think Jermall will get the ring belt. I think Jermall would get the ring belt if he beats Jace Rosario. So, yeah, that's not that I really count the ring belt, but just because Derek James said it, I'll go with it. But yeah, man, Derek James should be Coach of the Year. There's nobody else Trainer of the Year, I think, is what it is. I don't know anybody else that is really close, man. What's going on to John Page in the building? What's going on, man? Stormy B Man in the building, as always. The excellent Stormy B Man. Please subscribe to Stormy B Man. All righty, yeah, man. So yeah, Derek James, I would give him Coach of the Year so far, Trainer of the Year. But there's not been a lot of fights, So, well, there's been a lot more fights lately. That's a good thing. But we'll see how the year plans out, man. Like right now, I don't think he's had a fight yet. But we'll see if he can get past these 2 fights. He's definitely he'll definitely be Trainer of the Year. All angles matter. What's going on, man? I like that, man. That's a real boxing name right there. P Boxing in the building. Salute to you as well, man. Underground Asylum. I'm chilling, man. Just sitting back in the middle of the week, about to talk boxing with you guys. You know what I mean? Back to be talking about some boxing with y'all, man. But guys, got to wait a little bit longer before I can tell y'all what Tyson Fury said. Because today we are going to talk about Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. It has been a while since I reminded you what a cheat Tyson Fury is. It's been a while. I realized that in my disgust for UK boxing and the way that they've been behaving, that I have been ignoring the Deontay Wilder fight, and we cannot let people forget. You know what I mean? It's like we cannot let people forget what has happened in the past, man. So we will be chopping it up about Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury today, man. All angles matter said, love how you break stuff down, Fannon. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I got a couple videos today coming out that I think you guys will like. Andre Smith, Fannon, if you cheat, could you still be a Hall of Famer? Yes. Yes. Bob Arum has admitted that he bribed the IBF president for rankings, and he's in the Hall of Fame. So why not? I'm pretty sure Fritzy Zivic is in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Kristen Hemphill, no, I do not think Bill is paying anybody. No, I do not believe that. I believe people like views. I think they like views, and it's going to be hard to get anybody off of a hot topic because there's money to be made and there's viewers to be had, money to be made in talking about dumb shit that is already over. However, I must admit, though, that I do have a video coming up later today about Devin Haney, but not really about the Gary Russell Jr. negotiations. But I will tell you that, it's going to be an interesting path for that young man. It's going to be an interesting path for that young man moving forward. Very interesting path. Because when you're the boy that cries duck and somebody answers the call, you got to fight. Devin Haney has called everybody from 130 pounds to 140 pounds a duck at some point in time over the last year. Seriously. I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that Devin Haney is called, Gary Russell Jr. is a duck. Lomachenko is a duck. Ryan Garcia is a duck. Gervonta Davis is a duck. Teofimo Lopez is a duck. I think that's 5 people ducking, isn't it? Tell me if I'm wrong, dog. LeVar Leggett, some of these channels I have respect a lot are just trashing Gary Russell Jr. and this nonsense. Yeah, man, they're probably just mad at me. It's okay, boo-boo. You be okay. It'll be all right, boo-boos. You can let it go. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking to the people that keep hanging on to that shit. Yeah, LeVar, yeah, man. It's just, But honestly, man, I lost respect for a lot of people a long time ago. So it's not a big deal. For you, it might be a big deal. For me, it's really not a big deal because, quite honestly, man, you got to be real careful. I try to be careful, man, because I don't try to be careful. Actually, I just be me. But just because you really, can get together on an issue where, like Tyson Fury, the Tyson Fury situation, everybody can agree with. In the black community, when you start having problems in the boxing world and start getting in disagreements, is when it is related to something going on between 2 black fighters. And see, I think when you see things going on between 2 black fighters, I think that's when you really do get to see what type of people are. You know what I mean? It's easy to pick on Vasily Lomachenko. It's easy to pick on, the obvious things. Racism in boxing, dude, is so obvious that pretty much everybody knows that it's there. And it's talking about, something that is just, it's a given. But when you start talking about the mistreatment of black people, one black person by another black person, and what black people do within the black community, then things get a little bit more complicated. You know what I mean? And more things are laid bare. So, if you're going to be if my thing is, I'm going to just tell you like it is, man. I'm going to tell you like I see it. I'm going to tell you like I see it. Now, I might be wrong. There might be some things that I don't see, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you what I see. And sometimes that's going to get you in trouble with people. And sometimes it's, you're going to get along with people. But if you're always agreeing with what somebody says and they never, especially that type of situation, because, man, for real, Gary Russell Jr. there's on one side of it where people could say Gary Russell Jr., say Gary Russell Jr. didn't really want to fight, right? Just assume that is the truth. I don't believe that's the truth, but just assume that that's the truth. That he didn't want to fight. But there was enough stuff going on that would convince me, that might lead you to believe that maybe Devin Haney didn't want to fight. That could just kind of, and the fact that, more likely the PBC didn't want to fight, they could get you to treat people like, there's a bunch of shit going on here that is keeping this fight from being made. When you are just really obsessed with trying to blame one person, it's really a bad look. And also, man, it's just, he called Bunny, Luke, Fortune, and AB. He called out Bunny, Luke, Fortuna, and AB. Yeah. See, that's a lot of calling out. That's a lot of calling out. So at a certain point, dude, if people start like, this is one time, right? So Devin Haney called out, says Gary Russell Jr. ducked. There's a lot of, I'm telling you, most people do not think Gary Russell ducked. Most people do not believe that Gary Russell Jr. ducked. Okay. However, Doug, that's the one you get. if there's a question about whether Gary Russell Jr. ducked, if somebody else gets accused of ducking or gets called out and they don't duck, dog, once shame on them, twice shame on you. And see, he has the risk of being in that Terrence Crawford type of situation at 147, you know, because that's what happened with Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford moved to 147 and everybody swore up and down that everybody was ducking Terrence Crawford, right? Nobody from the PBC wants to fight Terrence Crawford. You had Tim Bradley out talking about how nobody wants to fight Tim Bradley. And everybody was just, you know, many people were like accepting that as true. There was a very good debate going on between whether or not Errol Spence Jr. was ducking Terrence Crawford at a point in time. Do you guys remember that? How's that conversation going now? That conversation's not going so well right now for Terrence Crawford. And what happened in the interim? Sean Porter said he wanted to fight. It was Sean Porter that really kicked off everybody talking about Terrence Crawford not fighting anybody. Because Terrence Crawford, because Tim Bradley and all those guys jumped out there and said, hey, man, the whole PBC is ducking Terrence Crawford. You said it in the middle of ESPN, all of that stuff. And then what happens? Sean Porter says he's willing to fight him. Yordanis Ugas says that he's... Yordanis Ugas tells him... Hold on one second. Yeah, Yordanis Ugas says that he would fight him. Keith Thurman says he would fight him. You know what I mean? And it's just guy after guy. There's different reasons why that fight can't happen. And why is that? Because Terrence Crawford had a plan for his career. And I have a suspicion that Devin Haney has a plan for his career. So if you know who you're going to be fighting, but you're calling people out or calling people ducks while you have somebody to fight, and people start asking for fights with you and you don't take those fights, you'll be right in the same situation that Bud Crawford is in. So I would caution people about this propensity to call people duck artists. You know what I mean? Errol Spence Jr., I don't even think Errol Spence, did Errol Spence Jr. call people duck artists? I think he did, but he was calling people out and they were just straight saying that they wouldn't fight him. I don't even think that there was a reason for, I don't even think Errol had to call people a duck. He was actually in the ring asking for people fights, talking to people trying to make fights, and the guys would just say no. You know, and that boogeyman, and he got that boogeyman reputation, right? Deontay Wilder in the heavyweight division, Luis Ortiz had that same boogeyman, the boogeyman reputation, because people ain't fighting him. But dog, you can't pretend to be the boogeyman. If what happens is, you know, you keep calling people ducks, keep saying people ducking, but then you never wind up fighting them and they start calling you out and you got other reasons, dog, all that shit can snowball, man. It can snowball really fast, man. Said, I don't think that'll happen to Haney because he's way too outspoken, unlike Haney. Neil Parker, no, man. Because talking, if Terrence Crawford never said anything about Sean Porter, that would be different, but he said something. Terrence Crawford said out of his mouth that nobody's going to make him fight that guy. Terrence Crawford said out of his mouth that he wasn't fighting Gary Russell Jr. Terrence Crawford also said that Keith Thurman wanted too much money. No, man, Terrence Crawford did a lot of talking about who he would not fight and the reasons why he wouldn't fight him. That's just a fact, man. That's just a fact. King Maul said, what up, my guy? Haven't seen your vids in a while. You give great content. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, man. Patrick Finley said, too much talking, not enough fighting. Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. So I just hope moving forward, I really do hope moving forward, man, that, you know, that there's not a whole lot of problems making fights with. Ugh, hold on one second. You know, shit. This dude is the dogs, man. I got to get these dogs to shut up. I'm going to probably put them back when I'm putting these dogs in this backyard in a second if they go again. So, yeah, man. So, John Page, what's good? He said, we would have entertained the situation, but they bullshitted with the paperwork and we moved on. We're going to be his mandatory plus this shit in the WBC hands and fuck him up. Oh, so you trying to get with him? Yeah, I mean, hopefully that fight can happen that way as a mandatory. Then we'll see. We'll see for sure. But yeah, you know, I don't want to belabor that conversation too much other than to say, yeah, man, y'all please just don't give any credence to that stuff, man. Watch the stuff that, you know, watch what you want to watch. But, you know, if you see something that is just bananas, you know, watch another videos of theirs. You know, I'm not telling you not to watch their videos. I wouldn't do that. I wish them nothing but the best. But, you know, ignore that shit because it's just bullshit. And you know it's bullshit. And it seems a little personal. You know what I mean? Eclectic agitator in the building. What's going on? And BG, we got a new member. He said, BG has become a YouTube member. Thank you so much. Where is my gong thing? So much. Thank you so much for joining the chat, man. Thank you. I don't think I had any super chats today. No super chats today. That's all good. Just checking it to make sure. Shout out to the Truth and Facts, cooking with good logic and understanding. Eclectic agitator. Thank you so much, man. I think Terrence Crawford needs to stick with fighting guys that have belts because he's fought enough guys that did not have a belt. It's time for him to fight more guys with a belt. It doesn't work that way, dude, because there's only two people that have the belts. And both of them, one of them is named Errol Spence, and he's fighting Danny Garcia. The other one's Manny Pacquiao, and he ain't fighting Terrence Crawford. If you want him to fight a guy with a belt, then he needs to go fight Teixeira at 154, or he needs to move down to 140 pounds because he's not getting somebody with a belt now. And here's another thing. Dog, everybody fights people without a belt. People don't have a problem with Terrence Crawford fighting guys without belts. Terrence Crawford's fought plenty of guys with belts. Julius Ndungo had 2 belts. Ricky Byrne had a belt. Bobby, he's the 3-division champion and has held 6 different titles. He's had plenty of fights with guys that had belts to win those championships. The problem is that he doesn't have enough guys that can fight. Because Minister E. Price, we know the difference between somebody that has a belt and somebody that can fight. Jeff Horn had a belt. When Jeff Horn had a belt, when Sean Porter did not. Sean Porter can fight. Jeff Horn is no Sean Porter, even though Jeff Horn is no Sean Porter, even when Jeff Horn had the belt. His problem is that he's not Hey, look, man, unless I'm reading what's wrong. Hey, look, we're gonna leave people's names up out of this. Look, man, people are fans and there's nothing wrong with supporting Devin Haney. Nothing wrong with it at all. And I encourage it actively. What's going on? Paul Carey said, what up, Bison? Manny is holding up the belt and seems to be getting the pass. Is that Floyd protecting him? Nah, well, it's the corona. He just got it, and we went into corona. So we'll see whether he fights or not. I think it's too – I mean, there aren't any fights happening right now. So, you know – I don't think that's an issue. I don't really think that's an issue. You know what I mean? Yeah, y'all can get the likes up. That would be awesome. We like likes around here. That would be terrific. We got 250 people in the building, roughly. We could have 250 likes would be good. And man, hit the likes, man, so people know. So because if you don't like, you're not going to get notifications and they might not put it there for you to see. So make sure that you get the likes, man. I would greatly appreciate the likes. Thank you very much. But anyway, man, yeah, so let's get off Terrence Crawford. Let's get back to this, man. So there's 250 people in the building. Now I can tell you what Tyson Fury's manager, Frank Warren, said. He said that Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury was the biggest grossing fight in the history of Las Vegas. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Tyson Fury's team claimed that his pay-per-view with Deontay Wilder in Las Vegas was the highest, it was the biggest gate in Las Vegas's history. Stupefying level of bullshit. Oh, yes. More than Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin, Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Oscar De La Hoya, and some other damn fight that was over that one. It's the number 7 biggest gate. Now, we're not talking about pay-per-view. We're talking about gate. No, it is not. And in fact, it had a $17 million gate, which is a very good gate. But Floyd Mayweather Jr. Manny Pacquiao was $72 million. Last time I checked, you could invert the numbers, the first two numbers, right? From 17, you could change that shit to 71, and it still would not be as big as Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Manny Pacquiao. No. They just lie. They just spew bullshit like just as second nature. It's not that he doesn't know. It's just he was like, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do to make this thing seem like it is so much more special than it actually is? BG in the building said, I love the work that you do on your channel. Not only do you educate us about boxing, you educate us about life. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Yeah, man, that's one of the benefits of being an old man. You've seen a lot of shit. And it amazes me how often people do not believe how much shit that I have seen. When you get it, underappreciating age is a great weakness. I'm in a prime of my life. Physically, I'm in good shape. I can still do the things that I want to do. Got some money in my pocket. I'm not like, I'm past midlife crisis type shit. You know what I mean? Feel good, man, being this age. It's good. But she said, Fanon is like a father figure. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. That is the best compliment that you can get, that you could pay me. Because I am sick of people calling me buddy and shit like that. If I'm a father figure, that means you motherfuckers don't get to call me shit like buddy. But anyway, man, throw BS against the wall and see what sticks. Pretty much, man. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But you know, the good thing is that we don't ever have to worry about that. Like, I don't even know if this fight's not gonna happen this year. Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. It is time right now to accept the fact that this fight is not happening this year. We have what? How many more months? We got 3 more months left in this year. So when we have to know, for it to happen we'll see all of November, all of October. Yeah, dude, it would have to get announced to be in the United States. Like, it would have to be set sometime within the next week. And they would have to go in training camps and all of that. How in the world? And they're not going to reopen anything before that time. That fight is just gone, man. That fight is gone, dog. That fight is not popping off this year. That fight might pop off the middle of next year. Deontay Wilder has that boy by his nutsack. Bop! Got him. Pause. Got him. You know what I mean? Because, dog, his whole reputation, just it took such a big hit with Glovegate. And now nobody was really interested in him outside of the Deontay Wilder fight. Watching the press conference, yeah, I know it's coming on. Yeah, feel free to enjoy the press conference because they're not going to say shit you ain't already heard. They ain't going to say shit that you ain't already heard. This guy's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. I respect him. Lions only. I got it, man. I've been listening to the press conference for the last 3 weeks. You know? Oh man, Roger Thompson said, I got 11 years on you, Fannon, and same Earth Day. Hey man, respect to that, man. Respect, Mr. Thompson. Respect, Mr. Thompson. See, then I think you could maybe you could also appreciate not wanting to be called buddy by somebody in their 30s. Kills me, man. Brawner versus Red Cash. Who do I have winning? I have Adrian Brawner beating Ivan Red Cash, man. Come on, man. I got Brawner over Red Cash, man. Unanimous decision. Melanated motivation. How do I feel about prime time at Jackson State University? I like it. I like it. Anything's good shine for Jackson State, man. Yes, sir. I like that. I like that. And hopefully they'll get some good recruits and get some people in the pros out of there. Because that's one thing the HBCUs are good for that not a lot of people know about or give them credit for. They are very, very good with getting pros out of those football programs. So if you got and they will train you like to be a professional. So very good. I like it a lot, man. I like it like McCure Maker going to Howard. I think those are great. I think those are great things, man. Who should Ryder fight next? You talking about John Ryder? Anybody to write a check to him, dog? You talking about Ryder, the guy that fought Callum Smith? I think he should get a rematch with Callum Smith because I think he beat him the first time. That's who he should fight. Fight that bum Callum Smith. Overhyped ass Callum Smith. Fannon, what's your thought on Usyk Chisora? Do you think Chisora will knock Usyk out? No, I do not. I got Usyk by knockout. I got Usyk stopping Chisora. Plenty of time to get that juice in the system. Now I got Usyk by knockout. He's gonna put that work on him, dog. He's gonna put that work on him. Sean Randolph, what do you think about EFE AJAJBA? Much love in that super chat. I think he is Michael Grant mixed with Slow Joyce. I think he's big, he's strong, but he has like very little talent. Other than him being big and strong. I just don't think he has a lot of physical talent, man. I don't think he's not very explosive. You know, the great ones tend to be very explosive. Ife don't strike me as explosive. It's like Joe Joyce. Everything's just a little slow, you know, and he really doesn't have a lot of, you know, there's no meanness in there, man. You know, I like a little meanness in the fighter, man. I like a guy to want to go out there and hit. Why y'all UK dudes trying to get me to talk about these motherfucking UK fighters, dog? I told you I banned these dudes, but what was the one? What was it? I'm just messing with you. I'm kind of serious, but Dillian White rematch? No. No, I'm not. Man, that fight flopped the first time. Man, that shit flopped. That shit flippity flopped. Less than 200,000 people watched that fight, man. Flippity flopped. Speaking of which, dog, don't nobody care what the numbers for Jermall Charlo and all those guys are going to be. Because, dog, all they're going to do is they're getting a guarantee, plus they're getting whatever it is over the top, dog. So they're going to make money regardless, man. That's a good deal for the Charlos. I can't wait to pay the $75. Any of y'all say y'all won't pay $75 for that pay-per-view need to be ashamed for yourself. You would never buy a pay-per-view if you would not buy that for $75. If you say you're not going to pay $75 for that fight, for that $75 for that pay-per-view, your boxing credentials need to be snatched. You're bad for boxing. You're bad for boxing, dog. Much love in that super chat, man. Make sure I got that going for you. If you said that, you were bad for boxing. 100% bad for boxing. Because that is a double-header pay-per-view. You're not going to see, you get to watch two fights that are very much worth, two headliners And one is one of the best headline fights in all of boxing. I have no clue how in the world people are crapping on that fight for $75. That is a deal. That is a deal. That's $35. I mean, dog, you realize, man, that's better than Gennady Golovkin. Dog, there might have been more hype around Gennady Golovkin versus Canelo Alvarez, dog, but for real, dog, this is a big fight. Matter of fact, it's for 3 belts, just like that fight. It's for 3 belts, just like that fight. Maybe not quite as big a fight as obviously as Canelo Gennady Golovkin, because all the hype around those guys from the mainstream media. But as far as fights, man, that is great, man. Great fight. No bias. Free Mind says, do you think Charlo's will win? Yeah, I think that they'll win. Getting one beat on a card twice, I think, nah. George Florin was slow, but power was explosive. He wasn't slow like EFE AJAJBA, dog. He's just kind of, he has some quickness to his hands. Nah, he just kind of punched from like, matter of fact, he's just kind of clubbing, but he wasn't slow. He was maybe in the maybe in the 80s, you might say that he was slow, but not in the 70s. I don't think he was slow. He was wide, but he wasn't slow. EFE AJAJBA is slow, just slow. Straight punches are slow. Just slow. Not a slow Joyce, but slow. I'm just not big on EFE. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not that big. You can keep him. You can keep it. For 9, I heard pay-per-view in the UK is $14, something like that, like 20, something like that. Not a lot, man. Yeah, Cano Loco Sports said Foreman had that mean streak about him that EFE just looks basic in there. Yeah, man, that's kind of where I am on EFE. Like, just nothing special about EFE. Like, it ain't nothing special about EFE like there is about like Jaron Ennis. So, you know what I mean? I just think he's going to be in the middle of the pack. You know, I don't think he's like, I think he gets knocked out by AJ. Like, I think he'll lose to AJ. I think he loses to Wilder. I think he gets knocked out against Wilder, something ugly. Like, something ugly. I'd be interested to see him fight Gerald Washington, though. Like, Gerald Washington, see if he can get a fight in there with, can't remember his name. But when that dude dropped him, the fight before last, the guy that dropped him, I was like, I don't know, man. I got to hold up on him, man. I got to hold up on him. EFE has no tools. Much love in that super chat, by the way, man. Go make sure I get this. I think I get it. Oh, there he goes. Sean Randolph said, I think AJAJBA needs more speed and head movement, and he could possibly be a champion, in my opinion. Much love in that super chat. I mean, it's possible. You know, it's possible. I don't see it, and I think he's about 40. Like, he's not as young as they say. So I ain't looking for like no. And he left Ronnie Shields too. Nah, I think he's about to be a punching bag for Tyson Fury or something. That's where I think he's headed. I think he's headed to like, you know, like he could be a replacement for the Tyson Fury fight. Like he could be like an imitation Deontay Wilder if they tried to get over on Deontay Wilder and make the fight and let Tyson Fury fight first. They'll come over here and try to have Tyson Fury fight EFE AJAJBA. That's what I see EFE AJAJBA being. You know what I mean? Because you can't, like I said, man, this fight, I can't see this fight with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury happening anytime soon. Because you have to have the gate. You have to have the gate. In order to pay for that, you have to have the gate. And it's got to be a full gate. Otherwise, people are taking pay cuts. You know? Tyson Fury would have to fight like a non-title fight or something against EFE AJAJBA in Las Vegas. And EFE AJAJBA gets, you know, beat up. I don't know. That might even be a good fight with him and EFE. How tall is EFE? EFE, what, 6'6", though? He's not. He's a little shorter. So he's smaller than Tyson. Tyson Fury is so damn big, man. Wilder's a bum. Who jabs more power than anyone else? Your mama's a bum. Oh, no. That's not you. Sorry. Yeah, 6'6". So yeah, he'd be a good one. Imitate Wilder, like a slow, massively less effective, but physically heavier Deontay Wilder. Something like that, but not really like, I'm not taking that dude serious like that. Like EFE AJAJBA. Like Joe Joyce. I'm not taking Joe Joyce serious. I'm not taking him. The heavyweights is just not deep, man. It's just not deep because there's so much influence, so much emphasis put on being big that a lot of these guys just suck, man. They're just not athletic, dog. Once you get to a certain size, man, you know, I don't know, man. I just don't know about them. Yep. Tyson Fury and Wilder is one of the greatest matchups ever. Hell no. Hell no. One of the 1,000th greatest ever? Hell no. DOG said, I want Wilder to get his belt back, crowd or not. Personally, I know Tyson Fury cheated, and that's enough for me. It's enough for me. And I want to see Deontay Wilder fight that dude and get the most money he can possibly get to fight him again. And I want Tyson Fury to sit on it for a while. That's what I want. Deontay Wilder to get a full year off, which he ain't had in forever. Always, you know, dude has always been fighting twice a year for the last 5 years, right? Staying in training camp damn near year round. I'm glad to see the dude get a year off. I'd be glad to see him get a year off. He deserves a year off. All these other dudes, nobody else is fighting twice a year for the last, how many other people fighting that often, man? You know? Especially a big guy like that, I'm more than happy to see him take a year off. And in fact, there are a lot of people saying, hey, man, don't go straight back into the Tyson Fury fight, which is supposed to be back in May. And see how that worked out? He got any damage that he might have and all that stuff. Oh. Can you see the difference between my hand and this hand and this hand? Right here and right here. Can you see any difference? No difference, right? There's a huge lump. There's a lump on my hand right here where I broke my hand. You can't see it anymore because it healed. But originally it was like out. Right? Another thing. Can you see there's a dent? Like, the reason I say that is just because you can't see a dent in Deontay Wilder's head in the picture now does not mean that his head he did not suffer that injury. Just because you can't see it in the picture or because you can't see it on TV. There's a lot of scars, a lot of dents, a lot of stuff that you can't see on people on TV when you're looking at them on TV. I just thought I would just say that because I heard a really good breakdown of people saying, somebody saying that they didn't believe, you know, that Deontay Wilder, you know, that dent where people said he had that dent, that it's gone. If you didn't see him in person, you can't say that. Because there's a lot of shit in people that people do to pictures, and there's just a lot of things that don't show up in two-dimensional pictures. Especially if swelling goes down, or you just don't know, man. Not based off that. But I did think it was unnecessary to make a big argument about dents and all of that. We need to go support our own to show our fighters are stars. Our fighters are stars too. Absolutely. That's why you should buy the fight. You should absolutely. Much love in that super chat to my man John Page in the building. Sean Randolph said, what if Fury wins again? Then what do you have to say? I don't know. Let's cross that bridge when we get to it. If Deontay Wilder knocks him out, what you gonna say? What are you gonna say? I don't know what I'm going to say because that shit ain't happened yet. What you going to say if Deontay Wilder puts Tyson Fury flat on his back again like this? And he don't get up? What you going to say about that? What would you say, Sean? Hey, if all of a sudden in the next fight, Sean, Tyson Fury, his jab, Deontay Wilder's timing his jab better, and taking his punches better, and has more spring in his step, looks a lot more lively, what are you going to say then, huh? What are you going to say then? What are you going to have to say then? Since we want to get into this fortune-telling shit, what you going to say then? Right? If Tyson Fury, if UCAD suspends Tyson Fury's license permanently for falsifying evidence and for encouraging somebody to falsely testify in his performance-enhancing drug hearing, what you gonna say if they suspend him? What you gonna say? What you gonna say if he tries to fight somebody other than Deontay Wilder, and then Deontay Wilder sues him and Top Rank for everything they got? While he says while he rests up and practices and gets his mind right and feels good about life, what you gonna say then? You know, there's a lot of what you gonna say then. I prefer to go with I prefer to think about it like this. What if it's true that Tyson Fury did have some shady ass fucking gloves on in the second fight? And what if it's true that his glove was hanging half on his hand in the first fight? And what if it's true that somebody put something in his water, put some ibuprofen or whatever it was in some water and it affected him? What are you going to say if all that's true? And Tyson Fury gets knocked out. What you going to say? I asked the questions around this bitch. You know what I mean? And Bomb Squad for you. But thanks for the $5, dog. I appreciate it. I appreciate that, man. However, there is a chance that Tyson Fury can win the fight. Both fights were Tyson Fury did well in both fights. Tyson Fury should be problems for Deontay Wilder regardless. But like I said, I don't know for sure because I've never seen a fight with Tyson Fury against Deontay Wilder where Tyson Fury didn't cheat. So I don't know. And Tyson Fury and I might never have seen a fight where Tyson Fury hasn't cheated, for all I know. What if everything that Deontay Wilder's camp is saying is true? What about that? What are you going to do then? What would you do if they found out? What would you do if it was true that Tyson Fury got suspended for 2 years for performance-enhancing drugs and got caught walking into the ring with tampered gloves? What would you say if that happened? Oh, it did happen, and y'all didn't say nothing. So I have a suspicion that if Deontay Wilder knocks out Tyson Fury, you're going to do the same thing that you always did. You're going to make up a fucking excuse, a real excuse, and he made him wait a year. He made him wait a year. He's got metal in his hands, you know, that type shit. I'm 100% completely sure these people are going to do that. Bogart's in the building. Deontay Wilder needs to attack Tyson from the bell. Well, we'll see. I'm looking forward to the fight. It ain't happening this year, though. Tain't happening this year, though. Sean said, I agree with you. If it goes back to the fundamentals, Wilders will win. But I'm a fan of both. But I know boxing, it's all love. Yeah, but hey, Sean, no. You just asked the question about what I would do if he won. That was the question. Would you like to ask me who I think will win or something like that? Then we wouldn't, it wouldn't be much of a problem. But I appreciate you, Sean Randolph. Much love in that super chat. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel. It is essential. Thank you very, 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 very much. I'll get to you 1 second, D-Man. Paul Carey said, just want to support. Thank you, sir. Bison all day. Fanon, that's how you feel? You feeling you skipped my super chat, homie? Did I skip your super chat? No, I didn't. No, D-Man. Salute, Fanon. How you feeling, man? Fam. I am terrible with them, dog. I'm so sorry. Much love in that super chat, man. Thank you so much. Oh, my God, man. Thank you so much, man. Oh, Lord. That's hilarious. Bogart's, okay, I got Bogart Skrilla. Deontay Wilder needs to attack Tyson Fury from the belt. Yeah, he does need to go at him, dog. Just make it hot, man. Go at him, man. Paul Clark in the building. Bogart Skrill said, why did I miss why you say it won't happen? Oh, it's not going to happen? What did I miss? Why you say it won't happen? Oh, it's not going to, no, when I mean it's not going to happen, dog, it's not going to happen this year, and it ain't going to happen probably into the middle of next year because they have to have that fight. In order for them to make the money, they have to have that fight in front of fans because the gate is going to drive that. The gate, because the amount of money that they made in the last fight did have a lot to do with the $17 million gate that they had. So if you take $17 million out of the equation and you put it on pay-per-view in the middle of a pandemic in the United States, dog, and you do it after there's already been like 3 other or 4 other pay-per-views, it's just going to be tough, man. I think that they're going to wind up waiting that out, man. That's my thing. I think that they're going to wind up waiting that out. Much love in that super chat, Bogart Skrilla. Best performance Wilder ever had, I feel, was against Stiverne. What do you think? 2? I think it was the best performance I saw was I think Luis Ortiz 2. Luis Ortiz, for me, I thought his best performance was Luis Ortiz 2. That was just beautiful, man. He set that up beautifully. And I think that's what led Tyson Fury to cheating ass. Dominic Brazil was a great performance too. That was just so nice. Yeah, got him. Much love in that super chat, man. Yeah, man, we good. Yeah, that's what's up, man. Let's get the likes up, man. We only got 600 people in the building, man. What? Seems like both top PBC and Top Rank are protecting the integrity of boxing. I don't get that. What's the timeout for? You guys say Al is the most powerful man in boxing, and Fury came all the way from the UK to do all that to Wilder. First of all, dumbass, Mr. Kingsley, that is really some stupid shit. First of all, I never said Al Haymon was the most powerful man in boxing. I think it's Floyd Mayweather Jr. That's who I think is the most powerful man in boxing. Secondly, Fury came all the way to do that to Wilder. Where is he supposed to go? The fight was in the United States. He was coming to fight Deontay Wilder anyway. Of course, he came to have a fight. Fuck you talking about, dog? Y'all be on some dumb shit. Y'all be on some dumb shit. Dumb shit. Dumb shit. I think that was a rap I heard my son say. Sounds like some kitty shit. Some of that kitty rap shit. Y'all be on some dumb shit. Dumb shit. Dumb shit. Man, rap right about now, sometimes, dog, some of them songs just not very complicated. Y'all be on some dumb shit. Dumb shit. Dumb shit. There's a loop. What do you call that shit? A hook? Something? Al makes bread and he makes money off Fury fight anyway. Yeah, dude makes a lot of ton of done, dog, but y'all be on some dumb shit. Dumb shit. Dumb shit. Somebody need to make a rap like that, dog. Like that song. Oh, man, I got to find the song. Try Jesus. Don't try me. Oh, if I could sing, I would be singing that every day, dog. King P in that super chat. Much love in that super chat. Wilder's silence is killing old media and Tyson Fury. And I love it. Also, salute Fanon for remaining professional with these trolls. Oh, you know I do. I stay professional, but I let it fly. Clap, clap, clap. I let it fly every once in a while, dog. I let it fly every once in a while. But for the most part, I really do try to. That's the jam there for nine. Y'all be on that dumb shit. Dumb shit. Oh, man. Oh, my God. Wilder silence. Yeah, Wilder silence is killing him. Man, because I'm telling you, Black boxing fans are the most loyal boxing fans. That is my belief. Black boxing fans, hardcore black boxing fans, are the most loyal boxing fans. They will talk about boxing, be around boxing regardless. And when you have that core group of people interested in you, you know, and supporting you in America, dog, you really have, that's where the interest is. But Tyson Fury just does not have that. Like Canelo Alvarez has it because Mexico is buttressed up against the United States, or rather, the United States was carved out of Mexico. However you want, let me make sure I say it. However you want to say it. Yeah, nursery rhyme ass rappers. Them motherfuckers be terrible, dog. Drake 1 to 0 to 100 real quick. Dog, y'all be on that dumb shit. Dumb, man, it's terrible, man. Y'all is just, come on, man. Come on, dog. Come on, man. Yeah, man. So, yeah, dog, they want it so bad, dog, but they can't have it, man. You can't have it. Deontay Wilder grew his support from the ground up. It really ain't, and it ain't leave. If Deontay Wilder fought somebody on Showtime, again, dog, there would be 1.5 million people watching Deontay Wilder fight on Showtime. You have Tyson Fury fight on Showtime, you're going to have 250,000 people tops watching that show. Man, boom, what? Huge from a man. Time to Annie up. Much love in that super chat, man. Thank you for your long-standing support. Time to Annie up. Salute for 9. In addition to 1, Sugar Hill living with the Fury family in the UK, and 2, Barry Hearn Matchroom being a listed contact on page 25 of Epstein's Little Black Book. Now, number 3, why won't we won't get Tyson Fury 3? I'm saying you're not going to get that shit this year in December, okay? Because people need to stop acting like these fights are going to happen when these motherfuckers ain't about to happen, okay? That fight ain't happening until the middle of next year at the earliest, dude. And that, seriously, man, December was some hopeful shit when it was May. Back in May, December, or even February, they push it up to February. It's like, it's not December, it's February. No, it's not. February was reasonable, maybe in June. But no, we're not getting that this year, dog. You guys can forget that. Tyson Fury, that's why Tyson Fury's running around talking about, I got to fight somebody. I'm anxious. I got to fight somebody. Nah, dog, you got to sit on that cheating. All of that, all those accolades you thought you were going to get didn't come, because all of a sudden after you win, you can't even come in the U.S. no more. It's just a wrap. You know what I'm saying? And now Sugar Hill's going to train him over there in the UK. For what? The fight ain't going to be happening no time soon. He's going to maybe try to find a way to wiggle out of it and try to get another fight other than that. Nobody wants to hear Cool G rap at the strip club. Well, Lamar Davis, I have to say, at the right strip club, it don't matter what music it is, okay? If you need a certain type of music, dog, I could go to a strip club that had nothing but motherfucking hardcore rock music if there was some big booties and breasts flying around, okay? Hey, it wouldn't make me nothing. Sid UK said, I'm a hardcore boxing fan from the UK, and fact is Wilder's the most exciting boxer right now and has been for a while. Bomb squad all day. I wait patiently for the king to return. Yes, sir. And that is for the great Deontay Wilder, man. You know, people, we respect you, Deontay. To the Deontay camp out there, dog, the people ain't leave you, man. The people ain't never left you, man. People ain't never left you. Only people that left were the people that were never really there to begin with. But everybody knows now, dog. Everybody knows now. Tyson Fury is one of the most raggedy, despicable fucking human beings to enter a boxing ring this century. He's a despicable human being, dog. He's a despicable human being for what he did. A despicable human being for what he did. And there's no glory in that, man. And they're not going to be able to. None of the selling and all that shit is going to. And even then, if he beats Deontay Wilder, all people are going to do is look and be like, damn, how'd he cheat? How'd he cheat? They'll be looking for months. Where was it? All kind of different angles and shit. Because he did something, because he's a cheater. Once a cheat, always a cheat, dog. You're not going to get that off your reputation. Once a cheat, always a cheat. Yeah, I know. Fury can't fight in the UK. Who are you going to fight in the United States? Before February. Or before May. Before May. Before May. If they're just going to take a gigantic pay cut, which is stupid. It's just stupid for them to do that. They just got paid $40 million in the beginning of this year. Why would you fight why would you fight for 1/4 of that? Why would you fight for 1/4 of that now? When all you got to do is just wait. And wait until you have a crowd and the anticipation will be there and you'll get that same amount of money. And you can't fight and Deontay Wilder can't let him fight anybody else without paying up a lot of money. Yeah, sure, you can do it. That'll be $20 million. I know it's Corona time. We both made 40 last time. I need 20 million for you to fight somebody, and I don't matter. I get to fight whoever it is that you just fought after him. No rematch clause. You fuck around and lose, I fight him immediately. You get no rematch with him. But it'll cost you 20 mil. I need 20 millions up out that pocket, which is why you're not going to see it. Which is why you're not going to see it. Said a weird some of bitches flooding the chat. They got, man, look, dude, I don't even got haters anymore, man. Everybody loves me, dog. Everybody loves me. I ain't got no haters. I can't see any of them. There must be the wrenches must be on duty, man. Jupiter B said, Al Heyman being a smart businessman is supposed to outweigh the white racist cheating, corruption, been succeeding for 500 years. Look, man, Tyson Fury cheated. That ain't on Al Heyman. What's he supposed to do to keep the dude from cheating? Tyson Fury is a cheater. There's nothing anybody can do to keep him from cheating. He's a cheater. That's what he does. You didn't see the Steve Cunningham fight? And the fact that he was suspended for 2 years? Dude, the guy's literally cheated almost everywhere that there is to cheat in boxing. Sean Randolph said, HBO Boxing After Dark needs to come back. Damn. Much love in that super chat. Nah, I'm straight on HBO. I can tell you honestly, Sean, I have not missed it at all. I have not missed HBO Boxing, not a lick, not for a minute. We got it. It never went anywhere. It turned into ESPN. And at least they're better than HBO. Like, it doesn't have the same feel that HBO used to have. Like HBO, when you used to watch HBO fights in the 90s, you were like, I don't remember the tune, but it was like a big thing. You know what I mean? It was like you were at the movies for the fight in your house. ESPN doesn't have that feel that Showtime, HBO used to have, but really it's the same fucking fights. It's like them and DAZN split. You know what I mean? So why would I want HBO back? I mean, unless they were going to bring HBO back and they move like all of Showtime to HBO, I would take that. Because I like Showtime boxing. Steven Espinoza, in my opinion, is like the one professional in boxing that has managed to keep himself Like, all the things, I continually have respect for him. Almost everybody else, I've been like, yeah, you on some shady shit. Like, you know, I like Al Heyman. I respect Al Heyman, but sometimes I'm like, yeah, that shit's a little suspect, homie. That shit's a little suspect. But with Steven Espinoza, I don't ever get that sense, man. I never get that sense. I think that he's really, really a straight shooter, dude. A true straight shooter. Cross my fingers. You know what I mean? That's the truth. Because I think he seems to be a very sound professional. And he also can allow himself to be a little more, you know, personal in social media and let his hair down. He's balding. You need to let all that motherfucking hair go, though. Steven, your shit's bald, dog. You need to let that go. Like, you hanging on the shit up here. You know what I mean? Your hairline get up here. You can at least go to a low cut. You know what I mean? Get a low, let people gradually let them know you're going bald, dog. But, you know, that shit, no. You gotta let that shit go, homie. That hairline is kaput. That hairline is kaput. What's going on, Mr. Linton in the building? What's going on, man? As always, such a pleasure to see you. Smooth Groove Boxing. Finally got to see the live chat. Been in your neck of the woods in Oak Brook. Yeah, man, that's what's up. Yep, that's where I grew up. Oak Brook. Oh, my gosh, man. Oak Brook, the Wheaton, Naperville, that whole area, that was my young boy stomping grounds over there. Espinoza is a fucking weasel. Now, why? Why y'all say that? Why do you say he's a weasel? What has he done? What has he done? Espinoza had great words during the Charlo press conference. Hey, man, I was in here talking, but I didn't get to see him. Dog, I rocks with, why? Why is he a weasel? Why is he a weasel? I rock with Steven Espinoza, man. I like Steven. He got rid of fucking Paulie. And he got pushback from the press over that because they're not putting out the Showtime schedule. They're all trying to stand in solidarity for a fucking racist like Paulie Malignaggi. I rocks with a dude. He fired him. Good job. You got my vote. You know what I mean? I rock, dude. I've been rocking with HBO Showtime Boxing for a long time, dog. And they thought Showtime was supposed to be going out of business and all of that, dog. This year, it is canceled. This year is not happening, is what I'm saying, Devontae Johnson. But I'm not going to ask the question anymore because I've been very clear about it. If you want to know, watch the whole damn show. Show up in time, dog. Fight like you have no ability to write in the chat. What is that? I don't get that, man. Oh, it's because Connor called him a weasel and oppressor. Oh, okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a good dude, man. I like him, man. I've never met Steven Espinoza, but everything, the way that he runs his business, I can appreciate Steven Espinoza. He speaks, so I know what it's about. Like Al Heyman, I don't know what he's about. I mean, truth be told, I don't know what he's about. It leaves you have to wonder. And the only thing I know about him is he's an Ivy League. Well, he's not. Yeah, I guess you could call him Ivy League because he went to Ivy League business school. He didn't go to undergrad there, I don't think. But, I know he's an MBA, but for all I know, that dude could hate black people for all I know. You know what I mean? He could just be like, wouldn't that be crazy if Al Heyman was like, you met him one day and he was like, who would it be? Like Thomas Sewell is who I was thinking. Like somebody like a Thomas Sewell. Do y'all know who Thomas Sewell is? Fight Like Ike said he doesn't hate on black fighters at Showtime. No, and he corrected that problem. He corrected that problem. Do you have never heard before Ali's story? Do you have a never before heard Ali story? Remember you saying your family is from Louisville? Yes, I do. Absolutely, I have unheard of Muhammad Ali stories that nobody knows. Would you like me to give you one? Because then everybody would know, and that would not be cool. Well, I'll start with a couple ones that are good. Damn, I can tell like his whole fucking childhood. You know what I mean? Like, people don't know that he didn't live with his family. Like, his father was an alcoholic. Like, the bad things is his father was an alcoholic who used to get drunk, and he was a painter who would paint bulletin boards and stuff. So one of the biggest embarrassments of Muhammad Ali's life was, and one of the things that he was fighting for to overcome was his alcoholic father, who was not just alcoholic, was also like would streak through the streets, right? And be running down the street butt naked. So, you know, he had those problems. And there's a periods of time when he didn't live with his parents. They talk about him as if he's like really a middle-class child who just lived with his mother and father and everything was hunky-dory. It wasn't, dog. Dude had like, you know, he had a rough childhood in periods of times and not being with his family. So I think that's one of the things. Also, I think, you know, stories about how great an athlete he was. Like he would chase the bus to school, like to train. He would, like, while other kids jump on the bus, he would just chase and follow the bus the whole route all the way to school. There was a time when he got his ass whooped by a Marine. I think he was like a sophomore in high school and won the Golden Gloves and was talking shit to this guy that was coming back from, man, he might have been coming back from like the Korean War or something. And it was a Marine whooped the shit out of him. And it was like they whooped the shit out of him. And then Ali's friends ran him out of town for doing it. But yeah, man, there's a lot of good things. First time he ever kissed a girl, he fainted. There's a girl he used to date he really liked, and first time he met her, he fainted. And it was like the big story on the block is he literally fainted from somebody kissing him. Got a good stories, man. A lot of good stories about Muhammad Ali. You know, he got a shitload of kids, you know, that type of story. You know what I mean? Like stories that I won't share, but that you get from Chicago. Not necessarily ones, because my mother's from Louisville, Kentucky. But then he moved to Chicago. So when I grew up in the Chicago area, and I knew a lot of people. Like now we live in Hyde Park, like right around where the house that he used to live in. So he still has, you know, he still got people over there, man. And they tell the stories about, you know, how sad it was when he could no longer take care of a lot of people, you know? Yeah, he's a real dude, man. He's a real dude. Real dude. And could be a real asshole to people. Like, I guess he's a good story for being, you know, for being friendly and talking to people, but he'll also insult people for no good reason. You know, like just be nasty to people for no reason. But maybe he thought it was in good human and good nature, but no, he's just kind of a mean guy, you know, in that regard. That's what the stories are around, like the people who went to high school with him. That's a lot of the Muhammad Ali stuff, the really good stuff. Other stuff is like his granddad, like how much in common he had with his grandfather and all the talking that he does. And I don't even know if like his kids would know this story, but my grandmother, who was friends with my great-grandmother and his grandfather. My great-grandmother used to buy ice from him. They called him Old Man Clay, and they used to have those big blocks of ice that you would take and put them in ice boxes. That's what his grandfather did for a living. His father was a painter, and his grandfather was one of those guys that picked up those big blocks and moved those blocks around and, you know, went and selling ice. But he was like, my grandmother would always tell the stories like, Old Man Clay talked so much that by the time you got your ice into your house, the shit was half melted, right? So they would say that it's like all that nervous energy and talking that came from his paternal grandfather. It's a lot of really good stuff, man. And I do believe he came off the Barksville, like everybody else. I think that they came off the Bargeville's plantation. My understanding is that because my family came off because there's this city called Bargsville, Kansas City, Bargsville, Kentucky, and that's the plantation that my family came off of. in Kentucky. And I do believe that his family, members of his family, also came out of that. Bardstown, or I think it's Bardstown, came off the Bardstown plantation. So, yeah, and that's why he's got like the Greek name, Cassius Marsalis Clay. That's a Greek name, similar to like some of my family. We've got the Greek names around there too. I wouldn't be surprised if the Clays were also, you know, had some of that with them as well. So there you go. Got his look, had a bunch of really pretty women, like cousins and stuff, supposed to be like exceptionally beautiful women. So, you know, that's the Ali stuff that I know. Clinton Price, much love in that super chat, man. Thank you so much. Get that going for you. Yeah, Steven Espinoza knows boxing. Dave, thank you, man. Bardstown, thank you. I always mess it up. It's Bardstown. Thank you. I always mess it up, man. But that's my family came. My mother's mother's family came off the Bardstown, came from Bardstown. And I still think like Jack Daniels, ain't Jack Daniels over there or something? Worked in distilleries and things like that. It's crazy stuff, man. Ali was definitely the greatest ever. His whole story is amazing. Yeah, man, he's a wild dude, man. And he's a wild dude, too. Real wild dude. Or was a real wild dude. But yeah, man. Thanks, Dafu, for the Bardstown. Yeah, so anyway, let's get off the Ali thing, man. Y'all are messing with my flow. Oh, there you go, man. Dana Staley, much love in that super chat. He says, salute Fannon. Isn't tight. Here you go. Salute Fannon. Isn't Tyson Fury under contract for the rematch? Why does he want out? It's harder to cheat. LDVC. He wants to fight again. He wants to fight again because right now it's a period of inactivity for him. And you know, Tyson Fury is prone to fits of cocainery. Tyson Fury is prone to fits of cocainery and alcoholic indulgence, massive weight gain, and just general all-around foolishness. Oh no, Gale Sayers passed. Oh, Gale Sayers, that's a Chicago great right there, man. One of the greatest, Chi-Town's finest. Rest in peace, Gale Sayers of Sayers Source, a successful business that has been running in the city of Chicago for like 40 years. You know, not only a great basketball, not only a great football player, but like a great businessman in the city of Chicago, man. Dude was on like not a lot known about that, man. Gale Sayers had a nice sized company out of Chicago for a long time, man. Reselling like a computer hardware. I think it was like computer hardware. But man, shout out to him, man. Absolutely. RIP. That was my dad's favorite. Yeah, man. Rest in peace to the great Gale Sayers. A little booger sugar. A little booger sugar. Yeah, you want to stay away from that booger sugar. You don't like that booger sugar. He like that booger sugar. He like that booger sugar. Nah, man, you got to keep Tyson Fury away from real ridiculous dumb shit. You really do. But still, to notice that the idea, though, that shit is a 50-50 fight. Oh, by the way, Gervonta Davis said that the Errol Spence Jr. fight versus Danny Garcia is a 50-50 fight. What's your take on it? Give your percentage and put it in the comment section. Your percentage that you think the fight is in favor of who? Is it 50, like 70-30 Errol, 50-50, 60-40 Garcia? What do you think, man? Because I've been trying my hardest. What's going on, Drew Titan in the building, man? Doing that hard work, dog. Got caught up in that chat, dog. Now you can ask me. Now you might be able to actually ask me questions about term sheets. Has the smoke cleared enough for me to talk about term sheets and explain it to you? June of the Truth almost got me. I so much wanted to do it. All right, so what we got? We got P. King says 60-40 spins. Ratchet since 91, 60-40 EJ. 50-50 Love Thyself. 80-20 Spence D Man Jr. 50-50 Joseph Nichols. Stone Love 80-20 for Arrow. Yeah, that's a lot of man down. Ricky Samuel just said man down, dog. He cut straight to it. So you went into it, big bro. I didn't do it for real. I didn't talk about that term sheet. Well, because that was not a term sheet. Shit was not a term sheet. It was not. It was not. I wanted to say it so bad. It's over now, but I wanted to. I was dying. I was like, I want to so bad explain to everybody that this is not one. This is not one. And on top of it, dog, you know what you never do with a term sheet? Never do with a term sheet. Put terms on there that you did not already agree to. Because that means it's a whole nother negotiation. You talk, you agree to specifically what's going to go on the term sheet, and then you document only what you agreed to. Nothing else. Just that. No, it was not a term sheet, dog. That was not a term sheet, dog. No, it was not. No, it's not, dog. You would fail. No. Well, let me put it this way. No, let me put it this way. This is a better way to say it. It was a term sheet in name. But it was a formal agreement. It was a formal, legally binding agreement. Not a non-binding term sheet. Massively different thing. Like just by making it legally binding. That just right there. Because I can sign anything that's not legally binding. It's a memorandum. It's a memorandum of understanding. No, it wasn't mistitled. See, this is the tricky shit, Jupiter B. This is the tricky shit. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but the agreement is the agreement. That's why I always say an agreement. You almost never hear me say contract. I always talk about an agreement because a contract is just the formalities of your agreement. It's the specifics of your agreement. That's it. But it is an agreement. But it is a legally binding agreement. One where there's ramifications, one where you take on duties and responsibilities, right? In exchange for something from the other person. But when things are non-binding, it doesn't matter. It's like you're signing in. It's like, you're acknowledging that that's what you discussed. And there's a big difference between acknowledging something that you discussed to guide your conversation, but then something that is telling you that you are legally responsible for this right here, and this is the agreement that can be executed in counterparts. It's tough, man. Like, no. I mean, like that's not, I would not call that a term sheet, dude, because the only thing in a term sheet that should ever be legally binding is the confidentiality agreement. And there wasn't even a confidentiality agreement in it. That was just somebody rewrote. You know what that was? No, I'm going to tell you what it was. And I tell you this because I write agreements every day. That is a fight contract that somebody relabeled term sheet and removed probably like force majeure, limited, insurance, liability, and they removed sections from it. Right? They removed sections from it and relabeled it. But it was written as if that was a fight contract that was relabeled. A term sheet. And it's boilerplate too. It's part of an agreement that was already written. Somebody didn't go and just type all that. That's already an agreement. So they're like, okay, we want to send them a term sheet. Well, yeah, here it is. We'll make it legally binding, and we're gonna get all of these terms signed off on. Like the amount of money that you would get paid for like reimbursements for fights. You know what I mean? Reimbursements for fights should not have been on a term sheet. Should not have been on that term sheet. It was just not supposed to be there. No matter what you want to call it, that term was not supposed to be there. Because they didn't negotiate, they didn't talk about it ahead of time. So whoever wrote it, I would say, I might call them in and sit them down, explain to them that no, what you did from a negotiation standpoint is you made it more difficult because now you're adding a bunch of terms that they now have to review, which lengthens the amount of time it takes to review it. But if you had just said, we're documenting, the agreement should have read something like this. Fannon International Boxing and Dre Day agree that they are entering an agreement entering into this term sheet to lay out, whatever your preamble is. And then it should said, neither party intends to be legally bound. Point 1 should be X. Point 2 should be Y. And then it should say acknowledged, just acknowledged, right? And both people can sign it because you're acknowledging it. It's like you're signing a memorandum of understanding. But if you have a full out agreement, you have to go through every one of those. So for example, if you sent me something, and I'm not going to talk about anything particular, but if you sent me something and it said, and it addressed it doesn't address termination. Right? So like what happens if this is legally binding, right? Well, what happens if I sprain my ankle and I'm injured and I can't fight until February? What happens then based off this agreement? I don't know because it's not addressed, right? So now I have to come back and say, okay, if this is legally binding, we also need to have injuries, right? I need a termination clause. I need to say, look, dude, if I don't feel comfortable within 30 days prior to 60 days before that, I can just get out of this, right? So once you make it legally binding, you just really got to dig in and dig into the details. And that's where I thought it was whoever the attorney was, and it probably wasn't an attorney. I don't think it was because there was a name misspelled, but more than likely, the person that put that together just might never have really been through that before. Because for real, if you're wanting to get it done quick, you can't just redline it. Jay Dixon, you can't just redline that, dog. No way. You got to add entire sections into it. I couldn't have redlined that. I wouldn't have redlined that. I would have added entire sections to it. I would have said, okay. And then, yeah, it was so much there because it's a fight contract. I want to know about insurance. I want to know about insurance. I want to know about, there's all kind of questions you could have about that stuff. But the thing is, the more stuff you put in it, the more questions there are to have. Right? And when somebody's saying like all conversations that have taken place outside of this agreement are no longer valid, right? That this supersedes all other conversations. And then you don't have notices in there. Like, how do you communicate this? Like, who's the notice going to go to? I mean, there's like whole sections missing for it to be a thorough agreement. So it either had to do one of two things. You either have to take all that stuff out, make it non-binding, or you've got to really have a fight contract and have everything covered and just go into a full negotiation. And there's a chance that the person, I don't think that anybody was being, yeah, I know you're being sarcastic, Jay Dixon. I don't think anybody was being, I have no reason to believe that anybody was trying any sleight of hand or anything like that. Really and truly, it is a skill set to read those agreements. It's a skill set to write them. And it's a skill set to negotiate them. So that's nothing bad about it. But I would have just told, like, if I had seen it, say somebody sent that to me first, like, hey, man, look at this before this goes out. Oh, dog, it would have been just, I would have taken out entire sections, like maybe 16 sections I would have taken out. There's 18 sections in it. Of the 18 sections in it, I would have taken out 15 of them at least, because they're talking about things that weren't necessary to be talked about right at this second. We don't have to agree upon what the reimbursement for fees is going to be. What if I don't like $50 an hour? What if I don't like 250? What if I like 300? Right? Why would we talk about that now? Why wouldn't we get to all the way through till we say we're going to fight and then we can talk about that stuff? The term sheet, do it consist of COVID protection, venues, and how many can have the fight? No, absolutely not. None of that shit should be on the term sheet. Only thing that should have been on the term sheet is who the fighters are, what the money was going to be, and who the network you're willing to fight on is. Because that's the only thing that was discussed. That was the only thing that was discussed. You write a term sheet after you speak with somebody. You're documenting what you talked about. So if you had not talked about the expenses associated with flights, if you had not talked about things like the phrase will cause to be paid, will cause to be paid, what does that mean? Right? Will cause to be paid. As many people talk. Now, I didn't see, like, I heard that there was an attorney on Barbershop. I didn't see that. So I can't say what he said. I don't know of anybody else that ever even mentioned that the payment was to be made to be paid by, some shit like that, or caused, I will cause you to be paid. Not that I will pay you, cause you to be paid. But you could easily ask a question and say, if you're not going to pay me, if you're going to cause me to be paid, how can this be a legally binding agreement? Because you're not really giving me any consideration. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, in order for an agreement to be valued, there has to be an offer, acceptance, and mutual consideration. In the case that you signed that, what was it that Gary Russell Jr. received in exchange for signing that? If you're saying you will cause to be paid by, it's just, like I said, without a doubt, wouldn't be worth his salt if he did. I know that to be the case. He wouldn't be worth the salt if he did. I didn't want to say that. But no, you have to strip all that. And you got to make it non-binding. You got to strip all that and you got to make it non-binding. Jonathan Cern, Fannon, you would be brilliant for today's show. You know your stuff. And fighters like Gary would have had more fights. Look, man, Gary Russell Jr. is a very accomplished fighter, man. He's a 5-year reigning champion in the WBC, man. He's not starving. He got more money than me. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to, and honestly, dude, I'm looking forward to Devin Haney getting what an attorney can take a sentence and make it sound other than what it's supposed to mean. That's why you must have your own lawyer look at things over, not once, but twice. No, that you have it backwards, ABN. That is backwards, what you just said. No, an attorney will read exactly what a sentence says when other people assume what it means. I read exactly, word for word, what is being said. Every word on every page. And you have to know how those words work with each other, how one clause works with the other, one provision works with another provision. Nah, man, we do the opposite. We are reading everything on that. It's nothing. No word is, and because I do that on a daily basis, I have to explain to people, like, look, this guy said, like, I mean, I could give an example. I don't have it pulled up, but there was an agreement that I did yesterday where we're terminating an agreement, right? And I always tell people that I deal with, most important thing you need to see, in my opinion, is your termination agreement. You need your termination clause. How do you get out of this? Because shit may go wrong. You need to know how to get out. And I always tell people, look at how you get out. If you don't see you're out and clearly know what you need to do to get out, you're messed up. So anyway, I negotiated this agreement where they didn't want to have a termination clause, right? It was termination for cause, right? And then there was no termination for convenience. So I was like, nah, I need a termination for convenience. If we're in the middle of a pandemic, if some shit goes crazy, I need to be able to stop this because I said I need to be able to stop, period. I don't need any other conversations. I just need to be out of this, right? So that's what we did. And it wound up that the customer wanted to terminate it less than like 5 months in, wanted to get clear out of it, right? Now, if I had not told them to get the termination clause, they would have been stuck in it for 2 years, but they had the termination clause, but they were confused about what happens when you terminate. So the company told me, the other company that we were doing business with, right, said, you have to pay your business, you have to pay your fees all the way up, and then from there, the termination period can begin, right? And I was like, no, fella, you misread your own agreement. Once I terminate, I give you 45 days to terminate. And my termination date takes effect when I've paid all my bills, which means I have 45 days to pay you. I don't have to pay you now, then 45 days. No, I have to pay you in 45. I'm telling you now, and I got to pay you 45 days. And now the interesting thing is I'm talking to somebody, right, who's supposed to be in front of their contract and supposed to understand it. But they are accepting an email from me, right? They said, but the contract called for certified letter or delivered in person. So they're accepting a form of termination from me, which is acquiescing, which is acquiescence. Now they've pretty much in effect relinquished the right of me having to inform them in the future by writing. So mistake number one. And number two, they don't understand how their own system works because they don't read like that. So it's the opposite, man. It's the opposite. You have to look at, and because there is no real such thing as legalese. Like people say that, but there's really not. The word is what the word means. The word is what the word means. You may not understand the underlying concepts, legal concepts, that relate to those words. That's a problem. If you don't understand the concepts behind them, if you don't really understand what a contract is, how could you even really have a conversation about whether it's a term sheet or whether it's a fight agreement? You know what I mean? And really, it's a distinction without a difference. Whether it's a term sheet or whether you consider either it's a legally binding term sheet. Well, then shit, every contract is a legally binding term sheet because they're all legally binding and they all got the sheets. They all got all the terms on it, right? What you're saying is if a term sheet has, if a term sheet is legally binding, pretty much what you're saying then is that this is the agreement, but this agreement can be executed in counterparts because you can create other documents that can be then incorporated into that agreement, which still makes it a fucking. But if you don't understand that shit, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like you just talking about shit you don't know. Junior the Truth, salute Fannon, appreciate the content, boxing, kaboom. Hey man, my pleasure. Much love in that. Oh, you didn't get a super chat, but much love in that comment, man. Thank you. Are you going in on it? Oh no, I've not mentioned any of the specifics. I had to, Junior. You know me. I had to let the fire. I had to let it go down. I had to let the fire subside a little bit, and then I had to come back. And then at least educate people a little bit about it, man. And I'm glad that the guy came on. I don't know what his name is. Who's signing anything with the name misspelled? Well, that just means he has to send it back. He immediately should have said, "Baby, you got the wrong name. You got to redo your name." You know what I mean? Ah, dog, this shit is hilarious, dog. Focus Ball said, my 9 times direct great-granddad is African royalty. He beat the British in the first Maroon War, never lost in 80 years. We got tax-free land and self-government since 1730. That's what's up. Damn. Hey, y'all got out of there, huh? Michael Lynn said, yeah, the HR and attorney experts are starting to show. Says, hey, the HR and attorney expertise is starting to show, Fannon. I mean, dog, look, man. Man, that shit is just, you don't do it like that, man. That's not how you do it. That's just not how you do it. It's not how you get the pussy, dog. It's not how you get the pussy. It's not. This is how you slip it to him, dog. This is how you slip it to him. You slip it to him with a non-binding agreement with just 2 terms on it, and he's able to sign it right away. Shoop. Yeah, you can sign it. Of course. If it's non-binding, of course you can sign it. Of course you can sign it. Go ahead. What difference does it make? You can spit on it. You can wipe your ass with it. It doesn't make a difference because you didn't have the intent to be bound. You didn't have the intent to be bound. Much love in that super chat, Focus Ball. I think I missed that, man. Let me go down to the end of this. John Page said, we fighting for Tuna next and beat a mandatory for the WBC and Devin the Dream Haney. We'll see you next. So lace them boots. Get ready for the beating. Yeah, now that fight happening next, that'd be what's up. I certainly hope that is what transpired, dog. Look, we got 500 people in the building, 550 people in the building, man, and we only got 365 likes. Can we please hit the like button? Let them know that you're in the building. Let YouTube know that you appreciate the content. It would be greatly appreciated. Oh, excuse me. Jai Rossi in that super chat. Much love in that super chat, man. Thank you for the support. And TC React said, did you see how the Undefeated made an article titled Black America Watched Deontay Wilder Lose and It Hurt? What? Who's undefeated? The Undefeated on ESPN? I missed the super chat. Focus Ball. Got Focus Ball. I got Drew Titan. Let me go back and look, man. I'm sorry. Jonathan Simon says, I love your channel. You be killing it with facts and specifics. I try my best, man. The Junior the Truth said, I dated a broad that misspelled my name once. I canceled her term sheet or contract. Oh man, look. The thing that got me though was this guy that came by the chat, dog. That what's that Bible guy? Bible guy, man. What was this Bible guy came with this corny shit? Like, he was like, he put some shit up related to damages. Like the term sheet. Oh, that's what they said. They tried to make this argument that it was in the, I think it was in the UCC. Was it in the UCC? Might have been the universe. Is it the Universal Commercial Code? I can't remember what the publication is. Regardless, there was some standard, right? Standard related to damages for breach of contract where there was not a written agreement. And when there's not a written agreement, just because there's not a written agreement doesn't mean you don't have a legally binding agreement. There's only certain agreements that have to be written down and have to be formalized, right? Like, I think not Wills, is Wills? I think Wills and what's his name? In real property, like selling houses and shit. That stuff has to be written down. But other stuff, the written contract is evidence of the agreement. It's not the agreement itself, right? And there are situations where you don't even intend to enter into an agreement where it's called promissory estoppel, where the court will say that there is a contractual relationship, even though you never intended one. So, dude, it's a really very complicated situation. But when you're talking about damages, that a term sheet can be used as proof of the existence of a contract, yes, it can be. It can be used as evidence of the person's intent to enter into an agreement. But if it's non-binding, it is not in and of itself a binding agreement. Duh. I'm saying, like, Kevin James said, thanks for educating us, Fannon. I love the breakdowns, dog. I appreciate it. Hey, man, TC said, I'll send you a link on Twitter. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't send me some ESPN sneak diss in the LDBC because motherfuckers got big. Got big. Dog, look. Just so you notice. See that? Where I'm going to point to that total. Where's that total at? See that down there? Where is this mark? No, it's there. See that down there? Where's down there? See that down there? Them 530, them 523 watching? See that? Dog, that's every day. That's every day when ain't nothing special popping off. And that's not unusual in the LDBC. Multiple channels have this level of engagement every day in the middle of a pandemic. Every day in the middle of a pandemic. Boxing all day in the middle of a pandemic. Fuck ESPN. They don't keep people entertained and focused on boxing every day during a pandemic. No, they do not. They have whack-ass fights against whack-ass mismatch fights by one promoter. One promoter. What's with these networks in one promoter? Like one promoter. All of the fights on ESPN is with one promoter that doesn't even have that great a bench. But he does own a sanctioning body. So he can manufacture champions. I could care less what they have to say. They don't understand black people. How would they even know it? But most black people, I think, are really tripping on the unemployment rate. Quite honestly, 90% of Black America don't give a shit about a fight that took place in February. So just the premise of it is stupid. Fine, I just got here. Can you do a recap on the two titles, good sir? What's going on with Wilder and Charlo? Kaboom. Oh, yes. What's going on with the conversation around Tyson Fury is, well, first of all, Tyson Fury, out there in them streets lying, or at least his trainer is saying that, no, his manager is saying that his fight with Deontay Wilder was the biggest drawing fight in the history of Las Vegas, which is just, would be true if it was like 5 times bigger. You know what I mean? Like if it was like 4.5 times bigger, that would be true. Multiply it by 4 and yeah. But other than that, it's just a straight lie. But Tyson Fury and these guys are trying to push to get this fight and saying that, that they're trying to make it here, there, and the other place. And I'm just setting the record straight, dude, that as of today, this is September 23rd, that this fight is not taking place in December like they said it was going to take place, and it's not going to take place in February. So all of the other plans that they had, dude, you can count that shit as canceled because it's just too far down the calendar. And we keep selling fights like these fights are going to happen, even past the point when you absolutely know that they're not, right? Like the Devin Haney, Gary Russell Jr. thing. Like at a certain point, dog, it was like, dude, the date is November 7th. We're 2 weeks. It's November 7th. We're 2 weeks into September. We've only got 7 more. We got 1 more week left in September. It's 6 weeks away. The fight is not going to happen. So let's just fess up that it's not going to happen. And so with the UK, Deontay Wilder's being really silent about, he's not even saying anything, right? He's not talking about whether he's training. He's not talking to the media. And they keep trying to drum up interest in Tyson Fury in the fight by making up a bunch of shit because Deontay Wilder's not feeding them anything, right? So to keep Tyson Fury's name interesting or to keep this conversation going, they keep putting forth these dates that the fight's going to take place. And people just need to look up and look around and be like, dude, that fight cannot take place because that is a mega pay-per-view fight. The guy's just made $40 million. Why would Deontay Wilder, I know Deontay Wilder wants to get his belt back, but why would Deontay Wilder fight Tyson Fury for $5 million? And Tyson Fury you think Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are going to fight each other for $10 million apiece? Because that's the most they could possibly get, even if it is a pay-per-view. And if they did wind up in the middle of a pandemic selling 400,000 pay-per-views, without the gate, they're just not going to make the money. So to talk about it, so Tyson Fury talking about it, and these guys, it's just him trying to stay relevant. The truth of the matter is that Tyson Fury is in another layoff. He set out 2 years for Tyson. He set out 2 years for after Deontay Wilder, after his fight with Vladimir Klitschko. Well, he's going to have set out at least a year this time. And was just getting a little bit tired of them trying to sell the idea that this fight is taking place anytime soon. It's not. And the media won't. But the funny thing is that the media will not publicize the fights that are going to happen this week. I mean, we have a fight this week for 3 major belts, and we have another fight. We have a pay-per-view doubleheader that you might say maybe one standalone isn't pay-per-view worthy, and the other one standalone may not be pay-per-view worthy, but the two of them together in the middle of a pandemic when you're not getting there's no fight happening near that level until there are no 2 fight cards coming up at that level. None. The only fight that I know that's coming up this year that could be on par with Jermall Charlo versus Rosario is, there's the Danny Garcia Errol Spence, and then there's the Teofimo Lopez Vasily Lomachenko. Oh, fuck no. How do you figure that? Why is Lomachenko Teofimo Lopez way better than what? How you figure that? It's a good fight. It ain't way better. I can see that you like it. It's about what and what. That shit's about what and what. Jermall Charlo is the top pound-for-pound fighter. And Teofimo, and so is Vasily Lomachenko. Teofimo Lopez is an unproven champion. He's had one fight where he won a championship, and he's going right in to a fight for 3 belts. That's the same thing Jason Rosario's doing. Jason Rosario beat J-Rock, who quite honestly is probably a tougher fight than Richard Comey is. Jermell's undefeated. Vasily Lomachenko's not. Vasily Lomachenko got beat by Orlando Salido. And he got dropped. And he got dropped by Jorge Linares. Went the distance with Luke Campbell. Nah, man. And 135 pounds isn't as stacked as 147, is 154. I think that's what and what. So Jermell's not undefeated, and neither is Vasily Lomachenko. And neither is Vasily Lomachenko. Kosi TV, and that's not a lie. If I said Jermall Charlo was undefeated, that, my friend, was a misspeaking. He lost to Tony Harrison, and he came back and knocked out Tony Harrison. Where's Lomachenko? How did that Vasily Lomachenko fight go, Cuzzo TV? How did Vasily Lomachenko do in that Orlando Salido rematch? How'd that go? How did that rematch go for Vasily? Oh, he didn't. No, dumbass. Lomachenko did not lose in the rematch. He didn't fight. He didn't fight, Mr. Funny Man. He didn't fight. Jermall got a loss. Vasily got a loss. The only difference is Vasily lost to a dude with 11 losses who just got beat up by Mikey Garcia. He lost to Tony Harrison, who's a legit top 154-pounder, who did get knocked out by Jared Hurd. But he didn't lose 11 pounds. He didn't lose 11 fights. It's just what it is. You say robbed or whatever. He lost a fight. I don't see any difference between the two fights. I don't see any difference between the level of those two fights. Salido did get beat up by Gamboa. That ain't no lie. I'm not counting shit. He lost. Cut him some slack. Hell no. He got enough. Didn't he get enough slack when he got the fight? Damn. Sagar, you want how much slack does Vasily get for the same fight? He got some slack to get the fight. He used all his slack up when he took that fight because he's the one that said he was ready to fight for the championship. Nobody made him do that in his second fight. He insisted on it. And somehow the WBO let him have it. And then when he lost, he got another shot right away. Hey, Segura, Jan, you know who I got in my top 5? You. Top motherfuckers to get thrown out of my chat today. Fuck out of here. Nigga, you ain't begged me with 9 more questions. Get another name and come back. And 3 months later, got another title shot. How much more slack does he need? Now, Vasily Lomachenko is an excellent fighter, without a doubt. But dog, come on, man. He's been number 1. Dude, the only person that is getting more slack in boxing right now than Vasily Lomachenko is Monster Inoue. He's the only one that is coming anywhere near the amount of slack. Oh, Tyson Fury gets a lot of slack too because he got knocked the fuck out and he was allowed to get up and keep fighting. He got his eye opened up like this and was allowed to fight like 10 more rounds with his eye, with nothing but blood gushing out of a wound. And he was allowed to continue to fight. People act like he has never, you got people in the Mayweather boxing gym that the audacity to say that Tyson, by the way, who's got to be related to Aki, by the way, gotta be. That's gotta be. Y'all let Arab dudes talk bad as shit about black people too. My God, man. You just let them talk all bad, all kind of bad about your people, man. That shit ain't right. That shit ain't right, dog. Anyway, the Arab dude out of a Mayweather boxing gym had enough nerve to get out of his mouth. Oh, I don't think Tyson Fury would never cheat. I do business with him, and he's just such a nice and excellent person. And then the person turned around, dog. Canelo in witness protection. Man, you get the point, dog. Dude turned around, is like, told him, you know he's tested positive performance-enhancing drugs already. He's already been suspended for cheating. You know what the dude's answer was? He just said, he just grunted some words into the mic. Oh my God, man. Y'all just you just do black people crazy, man. Black folk running Gary Russell Jr. down like that, dog. I can't understand it, dog. Can't understand it. Running them down. Jupiter B said Loma and Fury have received more slack than any fighter in the last 3 decades. Imagine how many people would win if they got that many opportunities and passes. Oh, man, they got these dudes on. Oh, you mean like Povetkin? Dog, Povetkin? What does he pop dirty 3 times? And he's a national hero in Russia. He's about to get another pay-per-view fight. The WBC might consider making him the mandatory for the WBC. He's popped dirty 3 times 2 times that I know of. 2 times for sure. I'm pretty sure 3. But Jarrell Big Baby Miller will never be allowed to walk into a boxing ring again without having his disgrace held over his head. But they forget. I don't even hear him mentioning it with Huey Fury or Canelo. Cuss Eats TV. He got a pass by fighting for a world title with the WBO in his 2nd fight. Nobody should ever be allowed to do that. It is a tragic, it is a, what is the word? Travesty. It is a travesty. It is a mockery of the ranking system. Mockery. You should have to get, how do you even get a shot to be in a title eliminator if you've never had a fight before in your, he walked into the professionals and had a title eliminator in his 1st fight. And it may not have been technically a title eliminator, but because if he would have lost, that guy wouldn't have got a title shot. But for him, it was a title eliminator in his 1st professional fight. Had never walked into, according to them, never fought a professional fight before. But yet, boom, he gets a shot. You don't think that's a pass? Don't think that's a pass? Come on, man. We'll end it on that. We got, man, I wish we could have 5 likes, but dude, we got 600 people in the building over yonder. Much love in that chat. Thank you to everybody that supports. We'll be back tomorrow. Make sure you check out KQKC coming up next, or he's on right now. Check out KQKC, and with that, I'm out. Peace.